Hello. So I had this crazy idea to use ChatGPT to write a sermon. So I decided to just start with Genesis 1:1. I literally just wrote a sermon on Genesis 1:1, and this is the result. So I thought I'd go through it, and yeah, it's kind of impressive. It's kind of impressive. So if you're just interested, what would this would look like? Artificially generated sermon, basically. Genesis 1:1 is the opening verse of the Bible and reads, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." This verse lays the foundation for the entire biblical narrative, revealing the nature of God as the creator of all things. As we reflect on this verse, we can draw several lessons that can help us in our spiritual journey. First, we see that God is the author of creation. The Bible tells us that God spoke the world into existence, and that everything we see around us is a product of his creative power. This reminds us that we are part of something much greater than ourselves and that we are called to be good stewards of the world that God has given us. Secondly, we see that God is the beginning of all things. The Bible teaches that God is eternal and that he existed before anything else came into being. This means that all of creation is ultimately rooted in God and that our lives have meaning and purpose because we are part of his larger plan. Thirdly, we see that God is sovereign over all things. The fact that God created the heavens and the earth means that he has the power and authority to rule over all of creation. As we navigate the challenges of life, we can take comfort in the knowledge that God is in control and that he is working all things together for the good of those that love him. Finally, we see that God is a God of order and purpose. The way that God creates the world in 6 days, with each day having a specific purpose, shows us that God is intentional in all that he does. This reminds us that our lives have purpose and direction, and that we are called to live with intentionality and purpose as well. In conclusion, Genesis 1:1 sets the stage for the entire biblical narrative, reminding us of God's creative power, his sovereignty over all things, and his purpose and order in the world. As we reflect on this verse, may we be reminded of the greatness of God and the privilege we have to be part of his larger story. So, I mean, yeah, this is pretty impressive for artificially generated, text, basically. So I think it was like 350-ish words or so. So this is like an entire page of text generated by AI, just a short sermon. I actually did it again later. I asked it for a 15-minute sermon or a 1,500-word sermon. It couldn't do it. It couldn't make it that long. But this is the original, and this is the second version. This one's a lot longer. This one was like 600 or 700 words. And it was even better. It actually started referencing other verses, which is pretty interesting. Like it actually, could do that. But yeah. So anyway, it's pretty interesting to use this as a tool. Um, Obviously, this technology will be used for a lot of evil in the future. ChatGPT, all this artificial intelligence stuff. I just thought I'd see, what does it know about the Bible? And I mean, like honestly, like this is really just the entire knowledge of humanity that ChatGPT is just people pouring all the information off the internet and that they have and all this stuff, and they just give it to this language model and basically just answers questions. Now so yeah, it seems impressive, but honestly, but remember, all of this comes from people. So this text, they pulled it somewhere from the internet, basically. So it just takes all the different thoughts and ideas and it just puts it together. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like it's not yeah, so yeah, it is impressive, but it does get it from people, and people are biased. So when it comes to the Bible, there's a lot of really biased interpretations. So you're going to get some kind of this, like, our lives have meaning and purpose because they're part of his larger plan. We are called to be good stewards of the world that God has given us. Yeah, like some of this is true, but like I mean, you're going to get like a surface level uh, message from this. You're not going to get anything like super deep. Like if you want something deep with nuance, then obviously like it can't do it. But I still thought it was pretty interesting. Like it was pretty impressive that it could do that. And I also asked it some other questions. And it knew a lot, like facts, like what's the middle verse of the Bible, how many words, are in every book of the Bible. Stuff like that. Anything that's like a hard fact, it can do pretty well. Like you can use it kind of like a concordance of sorts. So it's good. Good. It's good for things that are like undisputable facts. But anything with nuance, nah, it's not going to do it. So I just thought it was interesting as an experiment to try this out. Um, yeah, but so yeah, I'll see you next time.